Surprise Comics.
In this video, we're unboxing over $150,000 worth of comics that I just bought at auction. Some truly amazing and special comic book grails, a real treat of a video. And the idea here is I just bought these books at auction for basically full retail price. I tried to keep it to books where I could get a good deal on and then offer them for trade to the community and add to the trade value a decent enough profit margin where I can make my profit in that regard. So this is something that I've never been able to do before. It's somewhat of an experiment and we'll see if it works. You know, if it doesn't work, this could all, blow up in my face and not be something that I don't do again. But I haven't been able to do this in the past because when I first started my business, I didn't have the money to invest in comic book grails like this. And then the market kind of took a dump and this strategy would not work in a rapidly declining market, because if I buy books at market value and then offer them for trade, by the time I get those books for trade, post them for sale, market, pack, list, ship, all of that, the market will have gone down in price and I would be in the red. And so now that we're seeing some stability in the market, the idea is if I buy things at market price, or get a good deal and make a little bit of a profit margin there, offer them for trade. By the time I get the books, package, list, market, sell, all of those, if the market is somewhat static, then I should be able to eke out a profit margin on that. And the truth of the matter is, it's a really slim profit margin. So it's kind of a scary thing. I'm definitely a little puckered up about this whole thing, putting this much money into comics. So we'll see if it works. I always tell people and encourage on this channel, to set up your own selling platforms. You'll always get the most money for your books if you sell them yourself. And I even have instructional videos on this channel on how to sell books on Instagram, tips and tricks from A to Z on how to make money selling comics. You'll always get more value for your books if you sell them yourselves. But I also understand, and the reality is that many people just don't have the time, or a lot of people just don't have the desire to pack, list, ship, market, deal with customer service, and all of these things. It can be a real headache. And so for a lot of people, an opportunity like this makes perfect sense. To be able to consolidate your collection from some of these trades I'm doing are like 50 plus books for one mega key grail, and you only have to send them one place to me, no listing, no dealing with best offers and everything. So it's a really, enticing offer for a lot of people. And for other people, it definitely won't work. And that's fine too. You're under no obligation, to trade with me or anything like that. But if it is something that interests you, have a list of your books ready to go. Send me your list of slabs. It's got to be slabs. I can't do raw books because of the logistics and grade and value. It's just way too complicated with raw books, so it has to be slabs. I'm looking for desirable graded keys. Send me a list of that, preferably, in an Excel spreadsheet or something would be great, but it doesn't really matter on that. I will look up values, assign values to the books, and we'll see if we can work some magic. Before we start the unboxing, make sure you're following me over on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of these trades first. Also, you can sign up for the newsletter at bricecomics.com. You'll be entered to win a free slab each month. Right now, we're giving away a Venom slab signed by Clayton Crane. A lot of these trades are going to have new inventory coming into the shop, so I have tons of stuff on the way, some really exciting books, and you'll get first access to that through the newsletter at bricecomics.com. We also do a monthly giveaway here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, comment, and like this video, you're entered to win this awesome War Machine comic this month. And lastly, follow me on Whatnot. We have a ton of Whatnot shows coming in the future. I also just picked up a new collection, and we're having a ton of fun on Whatnot. $1 starts on slabs, chance at $500 cash every single show. If you use the link in the description, you get $15 towards your first purchase, and I always have something to buy for 15 bucks, so you can stop by and pick up a free book. So the first book here is a real jaw dropper. We have Iron Man #1 in a 9.8 white pages. I'm going to set this right here, put a picture up on the screen. Just a truly remarkable book. This thing, I got to tell you, it looks weird seeing this thing in a 9.8. A Silver Age book in a 9.8. This is actually the first Silver Age book that I've ever seen in a 9.8 white pages. It's such a small percentage of the books that have survived actually retain and receive this grade from CGC. There are 39 graded copies of this on the CGC census at the 9.8 grade compared to 7,987 total copies of this book on the census. So an incredibly rare book in 9.8, and I'm asking $31,000 in cash or $35,000 in trade. And this one is a really interesting one. I want to play a little game here of would you rather. Would you rather this book in a 9.8, where there's only 39 of these in the world at 9.8, this one has white pages, or would you rather a Tales of Suspense 39 in a 7.0? They're about the same price. A 7.0 TOS 39 is the first appearance of Iron Man. This is the first solo series for the ongoing solo series for Iron Man, the origin of Iron Man. And so the TOS 39 at 7.0 has 373 copies graded at 7.0 or higher. So you can have a TOS 39 where there's 373 in that grade or higher, or this book with only 39 copies. Leave a note in the comments, which one would you prefer? It is a real tough decision for me. I think this one is a little bit more special because it's so much more rare. All right, next up, we have another book that you rarely see in this grade, Doctor Strange, number 169 in a 9.8 with white pages. It's basically the same story on this one. Odd to see it in a 9.8. It just doesn't feel real, but it's absolutely real. 9.8 white pages. There are 46 copies of this graded at the 9.8 range on the CGC census. And I'd like to play another little game of would you rather. Would you rather this book in a 9.8 with 46 9.8s, or would you rather an 8.0? It's somewhere between an 8.0, 8.5 for the same price of Strange Tales number 110, the first appearance of Doctor Strange. So this is, again, the first solo series for Doctor Strange, the origin of Doctor Strange retold, some really cool art on the inside. So the origin story that's retold in this book is different than his original origin story, which I think was Strange Tales number 115. The origin story told in this book more lines up with the first Doctor Strange movie that we saw on the silver screen. So would you rather this in a 9.8 with 46, or would you rather a Strange Tales in an 8.0 where there's 182 graded at 8.0 or higher? Leave a note in the comments which one you would prefer. This is another one that's very difficult for me. I think I would lean towards this because of just how rare it is, and it has a much better cover. I think that's kind of undeniable. I'm asking $13,000 cash for this one, or $15,500 in trade. At the time of filming this, we have 30 copies left of my new World Tree number 1 exclusive by Tyler Kirkham, limited to 100 copies, individually numbered by CGC, over 70% sold out. An exciting new series from James Tynion, and we also have some copies left of My Something is Killing the Children number 21 full foil version, first appearance of Gabby, available now at brycecomics.com. This next one is the most rare of all the ones so far in grade. This is a Batman 251 in a 9.8 with white pages. Classic Neil Adams Joker cover. This one has actually already been claimed by someone in my inner circle. We were talking about this crazy thing that I did, and he was like, man, I want to throw my hat in the ring on that. So I traded it for $16,000 worth of books in trade. The last sale of this prior to this one was $35,000. Which I think was just a crazy anomaly high. There's only 25 of these on the census in this grade. So it's really difficult to get like a firm grasp on the value on these because they just don't trade hands that often. There's not reliable data, but nonetheless, an incredible piece of comic book history, classic Neil Adams cover, and it's going to a great home. All right, next up is a perfect timing on this one. Amazing Spider-Man number 129 and a 9.8 with off-white to white pages. First appearance of the Punisher in Frank Castle. This book has already been claimed. I posted this for trade on my Instagram page, and we sealed a deal for $33,000 in trade books. So I bought this book. The auction ended, and I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, they made the announcement that John Bernthal Bernthal is going to reprise his role as Punisher. Just absolutely perfect timing and an absolutely stunning, amazing book. Let me throw up on the screen a picture of all 4 of these books so far together. It's just so odd and amazing and awesome to see them all together like that. 9.8s. All right, these next 2, I got 2 copies of Incredible Hulk number 181. This is an 8.0 white page copy. I'm asking $7,200 in cash or $9,000 in trade. And I actually got 2 copies here of 8.0s, both with white pages. So those are both available now. Then we have an 8.5 copy of Hulk 181, first appearance of Wolverine, and this one is going to be one of the prizes in an upcoming mystery box, so this one's not available. Then we have a 9.2 copy of Hulk 181. This one is available for $11,000 in cash or $13,500 in trade. Last but not least, on the Hulk 181s, we have a 9.6 white page copy available for $30,000 in cash or $35,000 in trade. I got all these copies. I was going for a 9.8. There was a 9.8 signature series. I think my top bid was somewhere around $65,000, and I lost out to, I think, a bid of $66,000 for a 9.8 signed by Stan Lee, and that one was really interesting. There's been another sale of a 9.8 that's come in since then, a not signed copy for $72,000. This book bounces around a lot. I mean, just recently it set an all-time record high of like over $140,000. So this book definitely bounces around a lot, especially at that 9.8 range. But what I found with the signature series is it seems like people prefer not signed copies of this book in super high grade. For whatever reason, the signature series, even if it's Stan Lee, doesn't seem to demand a premium for this book in 9.8, which was surprising to me. Here's another familiar book, Giant Size X-Men number 1 in a 9.4. This is the first appearance of the new X-Men in Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Thunderbird. The second full appearance of Wolverine, depending on what camp you're in on that. This one is going to be the prize for an upcoming mystery box. All right, and I have another copy here, 9.4 Giant Size X-Men number 1 with the custom label. And this one is available for sale or trade, so I'm asking $9,500 in cash or $11,500 in trade for a 9.4 copy of Giant Size X-Men number 1. I haven't looked at the grader's notes yet for any of these Giant Size X-Men's. This is a tough book to press or to get any defects out. It's a square bound book. It has the staples that like really can poke through the cover. It's definitely a difficult book to press, and it's also a difficult book to keep in pristine condition because it's got a little bit of an overhang on the cover, and so you send this thing in, it can get bends on the side, so it'd be a tough book to send in for CPR for those reasons. And last but not least, here we have a 9.6 white page copy of Giant Size X-Men number 1. Just such an incredible book to see in 9.8 in this near perfect condition. Again, super hard book to press out, but that official guide to grading CGC Comics does have, a bunch of information in there about what's allowed, what's not allowed in a 9.8 for the staples, for square bound books like this, books with glue on the spine. I mean, there is some leeway for what they allow in a 9.8, but it's definitely a tricky one. So that's it for the books, you guys. And I gotta say, I want to talk a little bit about the experience I had bidding on these books. I was sitting at the kitchen table, online on my computer, making all these bids, and it was absolutely thrilling. I mean, I was jumping up and down in the kitchen when I got something for a win. I was incredibly disappointed when I missed out on a couple things that I was going for just because I didn't time it right. I wasn't looking at the computer, all kinds of crazy stuff. It was absolutely thrilling. And then panic kind of starts to set in because you look at your bill at the end and you're like, oh my God, I have to actually cough up this money, and then you send the wire. And I will say that Comic Link was incredible. They packed the books immaculately, except for two big things for Comic Link. For God's sakes, stop using peanuts. Packing peanuts should be illegal. There is no reason to use packing peanuts. Stop with that madness. And also, the sticker on the back of the slab, comic link, cut it out. Nobody wants stickers on their Mega Grails. Besides those two things, an incredibly pleasant experience, really easy to work with. When I sent my wire, they were very responsive because I was freaking out about them not receiving it like the same day, but then it did go through, and then they overnight shipped them that same day. They were here the next day. So incredible experience with Comic Link. So it definitely, put this hobby in a different light. I mean, this is a different part of the hobby. I've never, spent this kind of money at auction houses for books. I've never seen Silver Age Grails and 9.8 white pages. And it's giving me a little bit of a different perspective, on everything. It's all new. And I'm just taking it all in and processing it and deciding, looking at this Iron Man 1 9.8, it's like, do I want to I can't afford to keep it right now. Like I do this for a living. Like the idea here was to do this to generate income, right? And now I'm looking at the Iron Man 1 and I see how rare it is. And, it's definitely a collecting goal. Both of those books would be on my short list for books to keep: Doctor Strange 169 and Iron Man 1. So an incredibly thrilling experience. I hope that you enjoyed, coming along for the ride, looking at this book, seeing the process, seeing the journey, and seeing if this works. And if it does work, expect a lot more of this from me. You could even make a request if you want to trade some books, and, I can buy it at auction for you and we can work out a trade, in advance. So some exciting new opportunities on the table, also really nerve-wracking. But thank you as always for sticking with me to the end. Don't forget, we always have that monthly giveaway here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win a free slab. And we have a brand new giveaway over at BryceComics.com, that Venom signature series signed by Clayton Crane slab. And you also get first access to new mystery boxes and new collections that come through. Tons of exciting stuff on the way. And I really hope to see you over on Whatnot. We're going to schedule a bunch of slab shows, $1 starts, slab giveaways every single show, your chance at 500 cash. Come hang out, have a good time. Thanks as always for sticking with me to the end. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bryce Comics.